So recently I just had the bizarre decision to put my sketchbook in with my planner, and this is so not like me. I usually just have my planner in both sides of the planner cover so I can just open it up and just find my page. I don't like faffing about with, you know, the torment of having to open the cover and then open the book. It's just, it's too much. It's too much for me. It's too much stress. I can't deal with it. But lately I realized that I haven't actually used my sketchbook in like 2 years. And for some reason I got the urge to sketch, which is not very much like me. I do art, but I do block carving. I carve linoleum. Hence the name of my channel. I cut your thumb, because that's kind of what happened once or twice when I was starting out. Less now, but yeah, I don't usually do visual art like that. I don't usually sketch really, unless it's in preparation for linoleum thing, and that doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't look like a finished piece. It's usually something like this. This was actually based off a medieval illuminated manuscript, and I just kind of, you know, did it at work one day. This is just the front of my planner, but usually I don't really do things like that because it doesn't look finished to me. This looks finished-ish, but this is usually what they would look like, just very bold lines, very block out, black and white, because that's what I print in. I just print in black and white, at least for now. But yeah, I just suddenly got the urge to start doing more visual art, and it's mostly because I'm trying to work on finishing things. So I'm also a novelist, and I've been published traditionally a couple times, but it's nothing you've read. It's nothing that anybody's ever actually read, probably. But I'm usually a novelist, and I'm working on a novel right now, and it takes forever. Forever to write a novel and then edit it and do another draft, and then, oh, I hate how I did the tenses, this is wrong, and oh, I forgot this whole subplot, so I have to work it back in. So I'm a very slow writer, so it takes me a very, very, very long time, and I don't get that feeling that I finished something. I don't get that sensation of moving on from it very often, and I feel like that would be very helpful for me on a psychological basis to just. And also, I think as an artist, I think it probably helps you to just be able to move on and just say, you know, I'm done with that. I'm going on to a new thing. You know, there's that story about the teacher who gave half of the pottery class the assignment to make one perfect pot. That was their test for the entire semester, just one perfect pot or cup or whatever. And then for the other half of the class, he said, you know, do as many pots as you possibly can. And the ones who tried to make one perfect one really struggled because it's very hard to make anything perfect. It's impossible. But the ones who made many, many, many finished items had a better feeling of success. They were better able to actually learn more. They progressed more. They felt better about their progression and everything. So because you get that dopamine hit, you're able to better to kind of take a step back and look at your finished piece and say, oh, I like this, or I don't like this, or I could have done this better. It's very, very beneficial. And I don't, like I said, I don't have much of that in my life as a writer. So I'm trying to get more into visual art, because I can do an art piece in, 10 minutes or half an hour or whatever. And it's really nice. And that's why I'm kind of taking it in my planner with me and just shaking things up. I don't know. I just want to change. So I've been using this sketchbook and it's a bound sketchbook. I've been using it for over 2 years now, and I only did 2 pieces that whole time. Both of them were in the beginning of April 2023. And this was the first one. I didn't even finish this one. This one isn't even finished. But this was when I was very, very sick. I have a stomach disorder, gastroparesis. and a couple other inflammatory, or, autoimmune disorders. I've a number of things, but it took about 15 years of testing and going to doctors and everything to get have a doctor identify with what was wrong with me, and a number of them felt that I was malingering or simply lying to them. I had a few who said that I had an eating disorder, and I won't lie that my food is pretty messed up, or was at that point, but it was as a result of my stomach issues, not causing them. But this is something that a doctor actually said to me, and it upset me so much that he looked at me and he said, "Have you tried to stop being sick? Have you tried to not be sick?" It's like, you know what, doctor? Thank you. I never actually thought of that. So I came home and I made this art piece, this half-finished art piece, which obviously wasn't finished. And then I made this one as well, which is also not finished. But this is the beginning of the new things that I've been working on. This is actually just a stamp. It's one of those Versa ink pad stamps that I just stamped all over, and then on every single one of them I wrote "chop wood, carry water," because it's just something that was sticking with me recently. It's a Zen koan. It's kind of a Zen saying that, before enlightenment you chop wood and you carry water. Before enlightenment you do the basic everyday tasks of your life, and after you're enlightened you chop wood and you carry water. Like, there's really, enlightenment doesn't materially benefit you. It's a spiritual state of being. It's not going to solve your problems. So yes, at any rate, like as I was saying, I did this a couple years ago, and I am not a painter. I am not good at painting. As you can tell, none of this is good. But this is much more my style, more modernist, more black and white, more simple, repetitive things. And this is what I've done this week. It's backwards writing, but it says, what is the new year going to bring? And I said, I think it will bring flowers, because I am planting flowers. So I'm trying to be more optimistic. I'm trying to work on that. And this is something else I was working on, which was a perspective. I am terrible at perspective, as you can tell, because this makes no sense whatsoever. So let's leave that alone. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get some painting done. I wanted to take a while and just work on it. Just work and try to kind of art journal a little bit. I've been watching a lot of James L. Burke. He's kind of one of my go-to background noise YouTubers. Sorry if you're watching this, James. I love you, and I would absolutely never think of you as background noise only. No, but he goes through he's an art journaler as well, and he goes through a lot of his 5-year journals and all this, and he just talks about his life. And he has a much more interesting life than I do. I could never go through my journals and tell you about my life, because it is very boring. It's very chop wood, carry water. It's very boring. I'm a homebody. I don't really get out very much. More now than I used to, because like I said, I spent a long time being very, very sick, with no reprieve, and it's mostly better now. It's about 75% of the way, which is enormous. I thought it was never going to get better at all, which was very difficult. So yeah, it's easier now to deal with. I'm able to go out and travel a little bit. I'm able to. When it was at its worst, I had to literally pack all the food that I was eating for that day. If I left the house, I would have to pack it with me and figure out a way to keep it, edible, keep it room temperature or colder if possible. And any travel would make me sick, and on and on and on. It was very, very, very difficult. And without knowing what's wrong with you, people don't like to give you a lot of grace. To be fair, people don't like to give disabled people grace as a general rule. It's not only when you don't know what's wrong with you, but especially when you don't know what's wrong with you, and especially when it is about food, and probably more so when you are, a woman or female presenting. People can be very rough, very judgmental about it. They do think that you're making it up or you're being rude. Sharing food is such a social pastime that it's hard for us, I think, as humans to accept that other people have different needs than we do. When somebody has just an allergy or something like that, people are very rude about it. And allergies are fairly straightforward and also really dramatic. If you eat something that you're allergic to, then you might end up in the hospital 10 minutes later, which is very obvious. It shouldn't be subtle that they're not lying about it, but people get really offended. It's like, I'm not dissing your grandma if I'm not willing to eat her food. I just literally don't want to be sick. But at any rate, my life is much easier now, thank you. I'm much happier now, thank God. It was a very hard time, but I think I'm still kind of, as you see, I'm still kind of processing all that. Being sick was very difficult, and kind of not being sick anymore is difficult in a similar way, which I didn't expect. That I thought it was going to be, it's done and I can go back to my real life and everything's going to be fine now, and it just doesn't work out like that. This painting is very messy, and part of that is because I am not good at painting, and part of that is because this brush is absolutely terrible. So this brush was from a 10-pack, I believe, which was something like $5 from a big box craft store. It is not meant for professional use whatsoever. Probably not meant for adults, possibly not meant for children. It's possibly just meant to be decorative entirely, but it's very, very low quality. I don't even have any high quality brushes anymore. I used to get some better ones when I was actually trying to be good at painting, but I have since realized and accepted that painting is just not my skill set. It is not worth me to spend money on it. I will spend money on things that I'm actually good at and interested in learning. So yeah, but at any rate, it's been hard. It's been rough this past year, being unsick. 2025 has been kind of a rough year in general, especially, I guess, if you are American and not a billionaire. And so I'm trying to, I can't apparently talk and paint at the same time. I'm trying to extend myself a little bit of grace. I'm trying to lean in more. I hate that word. I'm trying to focus more on the things that I can do. I'm trying to just kind of be nicer, I guess, overall to myself and to other people as well, of course. Like trying to help people where I can, trying not to judge so much as I am kind of prone to doing. I think everybody's prone to judging. Some people say that they're not judgmental. I'm like, are you not though? Are you really not? I'm judging your statement that you are not judgmental. I think that judging is a very normal human thing to do. And I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think it's how we make a lot of our own decisions and come to our own ideas about character and, what we want, what is important to us. I think the problem is when you're a jerk about it. You can judge someone and still be reasonably kind to them. Ideally, you can judge someone and be reasonably kind to them. In practice, it maybe doesn't work out that way all the time, but yeah, I think it's really human and normal, and I think it's something that we should probably try to move past, work on judging less. But I think that pretty much all of us are going to do it one way or the other. So maybe judge yourself less for being judgmental because it's normal. Just try to not spend so much time on the bad parts of that. Be like, I'm judging you, but I'm going to be as kind as I possibly can in this moment, regardless. Because like I said, life is very hard, and I yeah, as an American, we're privileged in a lot of ways. Obviously not as much as some other people, but certainly more than people in some countries, less than people in other countries. You know, it's always, you're never necessarily where you want to be, but hopefully better than where you could be. And I don't mean this as some kind of like child of Alemus sort of thing. It's just, again, this is just humanity. You're always going to be a little bit dissatisfied with things, but again, that goes back to the non-judging. Try to be kinder, try not to judge so much, try to be a little bit less uptight. I'm a pretty uptight person, and I'm really working on it. So yes, that's one of the things, like I said, that's one of the things that I'm trying to work on with the art journaling, as you see. And I don't even know if this is art journaling. This might just be arting. Just might be working in my sketchbook, painting very loose watercolor paintings. This is technically watercolor. I'm not using much water in it. I'm trying to get a more opaque background, but some places, see, I can even pull off the hairs in the middle of this, pull off the brush hairs as I'm painting. So yes, I'm trying to work more opaque because I'm not a watercolor person. I don't understand how it works. You know, viscerally, I understand the concept of how watercolor works. I understand that it is pigment that you know, make into a looser paint with the addition of water, and it flows and it dries and it looks very beautiful when somebody does it correctly, but it doesn't work in my head. Like I don't have a sense of how it's going to work out, and I feel very different. It's very, very different when you find a technique or a medium that kind of is your medium. Like I said, I do linoleum, and I do linoleum block carving, and that is my medium. I understand how it works. I don't have a lot of technical skill in it at this point because for a lot of reasons, I don't have a lot of technical skill, but I understand it. I understand just instinctually how it works, how it should work, how things feel. And it's so hard when you're pressing back against that. And I don't think that was explained to me as a kid. And I understand why they wouldn't want to explain that to a child, because it sounds very defeatist, like, oh, you're just not going to be good at some stuff. But it's true. And I think that that's okay. You know, you, as a kid, you're sort of expected to be this all around good at everything. You know, you get straight A's or whatever. At least you get straight B's. I was never a good student, so I did not get straight anything good. But you know, you're expected to be at least fairly good at everything that you try. Especially if you come from a certain background, you're expected to be reasonably good at music and art and some sort of movement like sports, as well as being good at school and getting good grades and also having friends and also, you know, this and that and the other thing. And that's a lot to ask of anybody, especially to ask of a kid who is still figuring out what they need and still, honestly, still learning how your body works. Proprioception takes so many years to learn, especially if you have something like autism or, you know, ADHD or some other neurological disorder. Neurospicy, as they say nowadays. Do the kids still say that? Is that already out? So yeah, it takes a long time to learn things, and I think for kids especially, we have way too high expectations of them. Like, we expect that they're actually going to be good at any of this, and it's like, some things you're just not good at. It's just not going to be your thing. And obviously, childhood is more so than adulthood. I think it's definitely a time of learning what you're interested in and learning what you're good at and trying to be kind to yourself to make those two things fit together. Beg pardon if you can hear my cat. I said that she's going to be very noisy. She's Siamese in addition to other things, and she has her own way of dealing with the lack of attention that I'm giving her right now. So yes, I think that especially for kids, it's very important that you extend yourself and your children that grace of, you know, you're not going to be good at everything. It's okay if you're not good at everything. It's okay if your body doesn't understand how to do sports. It's okay if your body doesn't understand how to do art or music. These are all very specific talents, and not everybody has it. And I think we need to kind of change the narrative of how we talk to kids about that. You know, we say that some people are talented and some people aren't, but we don't really understand, we don't really articulate to them what that feels like. It's literally just how your body reacts or how your mind reacts, and you can absolutely train yourself into that to an extent. But even with the most training, you're just not going to be good at it to the same extent that somebody who is naturally good at it. Like Simone Biles is naturally good at gymnastics, obviously. She's also had a ridiculous amount of training. She's worked incredibly hard. She might be on some sort of medication for all I know, but she's clearly just naturally gifted at this. In a way that I am not. I was never good at gymnastics. I tried for approximately 5 minutes and I failed and I stopped. It's not my thing. But yeah, I think we kind of don't explain this to children well, and I think that ricochets into how we deal with it as adults. We say, oh my gosh, I'm just not good at this, I'm just gonna give up. And there's definitely a lot of validity to giving up. I am a fan of giving up on things, but it's kind of like because we have this expectation that you have to be good at it, it can be very hard to accept that you can do things for reasons aside from being good. As I said, painting, not good at painting, but here I am doing it anyway because I enjoy it, and I'm learning, trying to teach myself to learn to accept and enjoy the effect of my own lack of skill. I'm trying to find a way to paint that works with kind of, you know, manipulated to how I want it to be. So I can't paint well, I can't paint watercolor, I can't do fine lines, you know, all these things that I would love to be able to do. I would actually love to be able to do oil painting. It's so beautiful. I love like Bob Ross kind of thing where you just have those glowing colors and like a sort of photorealism. That's not really Bob Ross at all. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, but you know, I love painting. I think it's very beautiful. But I can't do it that way. And so I'm trying to find a way of painting that is accessible to me. That works with my physical needs. It works with how my brain works. It works with my apparent inability to spend more than 25 cents on a paintbrush, that sort of thing. And I feel like that's okay. When I was a kid, and I'm not going to go too deep into this because some stuff is going on right now. Someone in my life is actually going into hospice. They're dying, a family member. So yeah, so everything's kind of very emotional for me right now, which is why it's, I guess, really in my mind. But so I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna go too deep into it. But when I was a kid, I was taught kind of that I was taught literally with these words, that if you're not good at something, you shouldn't bother to do it. And that was definitely reinforced by, you know, the culture in the school that I went to and the culture that I grew up in and everything, that if you're not good at whatever, don't even bother. Like, why are you wasting our time? Why are you wasting our time? Why are you wasting our money? Why are you making me show up to your school play when you're absolutely terrible at it? You know, and I think that's a choice that it's certainly valid. Like I said, you don't have to try and do stuff if you don't want to do it. But it's also okay to just do things because you enjoy it. It's okay to not be good at it. It's okay to find a way of doing it that doesn't look like the traditional way, but maybe makes you happy. It's okay to, all of it. It's okay. It's art. It's not intended to be a production of who can make a more perfect line or you know, like this would have gotten me scorned roundly when I was a child or growing up, because I'm not painting within the lines. I'm not using watercolor properly, you know, with a wash or with any of the other techniques that I couldn't even tell you about, because like I said, I'm not good at watercolor. It's not, or painting. I'm not trained in this, but I know that I'm not using it how you're supposed to use watercolor, and I would have been corrected for using it like this. And I think that's an injustice to me as a human, to children, to talk to them like that. I think it's injustice to kind of art in general, you know, our common shared humanity, to say that you're doing something, you're making art the wrong way, you're experiencing creativity wrong. And obviously there's a lot to be said for training and techniques and being able to know the rules before you break them and everything, but yeah, I feel like there's more than just rules here, you know, there's more to life than being good at something. Or maybe the thing that we're meant to be good at is the expression, the creativity, the learning the freedom, learning the grace, learning that forgiveness, like I was saying before. Maybe this is the point of it. I don't know. I mean, I can't get too philosophical because I don't want to be in that headspace right now. But there's a lot that we devalue in ourselves, and I think that's kind of a shame. It's not actually helping anybody to be cruel and to be judgmental, like I was saying before. So I want to try to stop doing that a little bit. And that is why I am working in this with my shitty paintings and my very uneven lines. I freehanded these lines, actually. And I tried to, like I said, I was trying to learn perspective, and I don't understand it. I tried to learn it once before, and I was just awful at it. And since then, I'm like, I don't understand it, and I don't care enough to bother. And for some reason at work the other day, I decided I wanted to learn it again, and then I, you know, got 5 minutes into it. I was like, no, back to not bothering again. I'm gonna give up on this for the next 20 years again. So, and that's completely fine. Whatever. Nobody's gonna see this YouTube video. Nobody's gonna look at my art journal and say, oh, we would have given you a scholarship to the fanciest art university ever, with, you know, enough money that you could upend your life and move there and focus on doing nothing but painting for the rest of your life, except your perspective is terrible. Like, come on, that's not gonna happen. So my goal with this, with the art journaling, I'm gonna keep calling it that because it feels like journaling, probably because I'm talking ceaselessly about my own self. So my goal with the art journaling is to just do it, and to be okay with it, whatever it is, to end on a thing that reasonably satisfies me at the moment. And if I can't be satisfied by it, at least I finished it. So I guess my goal is to finish it. There you go. So my goal with this is to finish this piece. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I do not have a plan in place. I don't know what I'm doing. But my cat's acting up, so it's not going to be a whole lot longer. But at any rate, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of my video. If anybody actually is watching this, please don't deny me any art scholarships based on this. I promise I can learn. Please don't take any of this too seriously. Try not to judge me. Try not to judge yourself. Let's just be a little bit more chill for the rest of the year. And in 2026, we're gonna plant flowers, right? We're gonna get flowers for the next year. I'm gonna try to. Anyway, thank you for watching.